Welcome to another edition of Banter and Babble. I am the Dude79, and joining me always, my esteemed colleague, Mr. Fanboytone. Mr. Fanboytone, how you doing, man? You pretty chill, relaxed tonight?
Not at all. Actually, quite the opposite. I haven't slept very well. I'm stressed out. I'm worked up. Yeah.
From what? What's going on? What's going on in the world?
There's been an election we're working on here in the United States of America.
Now, if you know Tone outside of Banter and Babble, you know he is a very proud fan of politics.
Mm-hmm.
He loves to dabble in it. He loves to get into it.
Sure do.
And, yeah, you've been a little stressed these last couple of 24 hours.
Yep.
But it's been pretty wild. It's been a very, very crazy 24 hours. We typically don't get into the politics and stuff, but I will say this. Good job, Michigan. Good job. That's all I'm going to say. Everyone got out and vote, record numbers, tons of people went out and did their thing, and it was pretty cool to see that unfold today. Last night, went to bed, Michigan was looking one way, wake up in the morning, went a completely different way. Pretty wild.
Yep.
I know you don't want to get in. I know you don't want to get into it, and that's okay. We won't.
You're right.
We won't. But just thought.
Well, then how are you doing?
I was I was a little upset last night.
Yes, you were. 10:30. You stopped.
For various reasons. And I did. I stopped. I ended up working on the show. But then went to bed. And right before I went to bed, there was some late-breaking developments on some of the way they were reading the polls, and I thought, "Mom, hey, maybe something would be different in the morning," and it was very different in the morning. So pretty intense stuff. But it doesn't matter which way you lean. The election time is always like one of the most just stressful times of your life. Every 4 years, everyone has to deal with it, both sides, and it's pretty wild. Thank you so much for that subscription, Josh. Appreciate you, brother. For sure. Kerber as well. Thank you so much for that subscription. We really, really appreciate you guys and gals' support. But yeah, hopefully everyone's doing good. Like I said, there's certain things you need a little escape from. There's certain issues that we should never escape from because they need to be addressed. They need to, constantly have focus on and work on them. But for something like this, it's nice to be able to kind of step back for a moment, have some beers, shoot the shit, and just talk. Like
tensions are high. That's right.
Tensions are very, very high. But hopefully everyone's doing good. Hopefully everyone's having a good time. If you weren't, I think we forgot to mention it last week, the opening music. I don't think we talked about it. Ant House Beats has a new album out, Behind the Hype. That's the music you heard at the beginning of the show, and it's the music you'll hear at the end of the show. You can check out all of his albums, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music. I mean, he's got that shit
pretty much
everywhere.
Anywhere. YouTube even too. If you stream, it's royalty free.
Yes,
he loves it. Great promotion for his music. Check out Ant House Beats if you get a chance.
He definitely wants you to play his music, and he encourages it, and I encourage you to. Mm-hmm. It's really, really, really good music. So definitely worth a look. But Tone,
yes.
What are we drinking tonight, man?
We are drinking Hell or High Watermelon from the 21st Amendment Brewery out of San Francisco. Now, typically we try to keep our brews in the Midwest, mostly specifically Michigan. However, in about a year of us doing this show, we're getting limited on what I either can find at my liquor stores in the area because there's certain ones I don't like to go to because they're jerks. Which is really only one. Or just trying to find something different that I know either you're gonna like, and usually even if you don't, I figure I'm just gonna work with your palate anyways.
Right. I like it when you work my palate.
Just saying. Unfortunately, Michigan is really a big fan of IPAs and trash beer like that. So it makes it hard. If it's not like some form of stout or even we can handle like normal ales, like wheat ales or whatever, but I typically lean more with the thicker, darker, and more filling brews. So I do not love IPA. Smilky, I do want to give a quick shout out. Smilky said, and welcome, by the way, Smilk. That's an amazing dude right there. Huge nerd. Love talking nerd stuff with him. This is his first time on Twitch, apparently. We were popping his Twitch
His Twitch cherry just got destroyed. I'm rearranging your guts, Smilky. Welcome to Twitch.
That was not exactly what I expected to hear.
I went really dark with that, didn't I? That was really graphic.
Things are going to happen.
Hey, man, you're the ones watching this show, so you know what to expect.
This is also true. So tonight, this one did come from San Fran. Like I said, I'm getting limited on what we have been kind of bouncing around because it's got to be something that we'll try. So far, I'm gonna be honest. We don't normally get too deep into what we're drinking and how flavor. It really does not taste much like watermelon. It's got this freshness. Actually, you said it tastes mostly like
a seltzer.
There you go.
It's like it's only like Truly's, but not as good. Because Truly's always got to pronounce that all their flavors are. There's a pronounce, you know what you're drinking. You can guess it.
Truly's is the creme de la creme of seltzers.
It really is. It makes White Claws look terrible, and this is like it's just not quite. I mean, it's good. It's like you said, it's refreshing. But it's only 4.5, so we're not going to get fucking shit faced on this. So
I don't want to after last night.
Yeah, you got loaded last night.
I was fucking loaded.
Those pictures were unsolicited and unnecessary.
Well, thanks for that. Well, thanks for that sub, Spence. Appreciate
thank you so
guys.
much for that sub, man. Thanks. Appreciate you. But we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about tonight. It won't be as beefy as a show as last week's show, but we have some really good conversations nonetheless. A lot of cool stuff we want to cover. Obviously, we got a couple of we got to talk about Mandalorian. We're going to talk about a movie that's available now on Apple Plus with Bill Murray. Obviously, Bill Murray getting outside of his normal comedies and goes with more dramedies, I guess you could say it is, kind of a dramedy.
I like that,
we're going to talk about next week. We have 2 new consoles dropping next week.
Yep.
Boom. And then we got a cool discussion for the end of the show. We got a pretty cool discussion to have. We're really excited about it. Should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And we want you guys and girls to get involved. It's going to be pretty wild. Tissy, thank you so much for that subscription.
I do want to point out that my longtime friend Black Magic just mentioned if he can donate some of the Youngling Hershey's chocolate port. Listen, if anybody wants to give us beer to drink on the show,
never going to say no.
Never going to say no. Even if it's a piece of shit IPA.
If it's Natty Light, I might push back.
I guess we do have a limit.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Natty Light,
let's back that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, maybe a little pushback.
Pork Chop Express is hitting the brakes for a minute on that one. All right, like if it's a Natty Light, no bueno.
I actually, Drastin, I actually drank the PBJ, the peanut butter and raspberry jelly.
You can't reach the can. Can you reach the can? He did try. We both agree not enough peanut butter.
Not enough peanut butter. Tasty.
Good raspberry for the most part. Decent. I liked it more.
A little bit more PB though. A little bit more PB flavor.
Natter Day.
If you're gonna call it PB&J, you better come pretty damn close to a PB&J.
Oh, we know we like that PB.
But yeah, I mean, obviously that's from Ohio, right? Is that from Ohio?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, expectations were
true,
real low.
However, and this will be the one time you'll hear me say something half-assed, decent, dragged out of the grave
about
lying. Ohio.
It's fucking lying.
Probably lying. I will say their microbrew game has stepped up. Because guess what? They don't have a bunch of IPAs like fucking Michigan does, but they've got a lot of variety out there going out too. They're really amping their game. I would say confidently the Midwest is really doing a great job of microbrews and locking it into.
Spencer says you're drinking watermelon beer. Easy on the beer criticisms.
I should fucking right.
Guess we probably don't have too much room here. But before we continue on with the first topic, we want to remind you there are 2 shows left. Well, actually, this is 1. And then the 18th
7
is 2, and then December 2nd before 9:30.
So we have 2 more left this year?
We have 3 more. Well, this one, the 18th, the 2nd, and the 16th. So we have 3 more after this one. So 4, including this one. Yeah. Okay. But you have 2 and 30 minutes worth of time to get entered for PlayStation 5 disc version.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you've not heard and were not here last week, but here this week, this is the link you click to try and win yourself a PS5, PlayStation 5 for the holiday for you or a loved one. Yep. And as always, we're not really doing a promotion and promoting this on social media anywhere elsewhere. We're trying to keep this in-house as much as possible with y'all. But if you have a family member or friend that you think would enjoy me, not so much him, but me, come hang out at the show, give them the link, say, hey, watch Banter and Babble, be here, because we're only dropping this link when we're live.
Yep.
So that's 3 more chances this year.
We'll drop it a couple more times during the show, but again, don't post this on social media. Don't post this on Twitter. Don't post it on anywhere. Just if you have a friend or a family member that you think might enjoy Banter and Babble, send them over this way, especially if they're looking for a PlayStation 5 this holiday. Come on over here, hang out with us, shoot the shit with us, be a part of the conversation, and when that link drops, click on it, and you'll be able to enter in. You can also enter in if you join the Discord. We'll have the link in there as well for our Discord community. I'll put that right here.
Let Mr. Claus and Mrs. Claus make your Christmas extra special this year.
The reason, again, we touched on this already. The reason we don't want to post this on social media is because it'll draw on the bots, and we would rather somebody in-house, a member of our community, have an opportunity to win as opposed to some Autobot.
Autobot.
I mean, if
anything, it'd be a
Prime
Decepticon.
actually walked in, no
whatever.
Decepticons, just no Autobots either. But we want to keep it in house, and again, this is just our way of showing our appreciation, our for your support, and always being a part of the conversation and being here every week. Again, the drawing will take place on December 2nd during that show. About a half hour in, the winner will be drawn, and we will send it out the next day. So. Can I share it with Seth? Mystic Mike, the backstabber. It's easier for me to say the backstabber.
Oh,
can you share it with
he's
Seth?
Real sis. Yeah, since unfortunately we're keeping it in the United States only as a giveaway. Is Seth, who I think it is from Discord, right? Mystic Mike, that is real name. I believe so. I know there's a little delay, but if he's in America, definitely.
Oh, he meant Rogan. Can I share it with Seth Rogan?
Oh, he's
running a bit.
Oh, he just fucking hook, line, and sinkered me.
Yeah, he bought me in too.
Wow.
How do you? We can't.
I don't know. You can't block him.
No,
you can't. It's impossible. Like for some reason, Twitch quits.
One of these days, Mike. One of these days, we may or may not be playing Among Us next Wednesday.
Right.
Once Mystic Mike leaves the chat, we'll confirm that it's taking place. But as of right now, it's not looking very good. So we probably won't be playing. Wink, wink. Next Wednesday for B&B Plays. We'll be checking out more Among Us. Should be pretty fun. So that's the plan. It's sus as fuck, Tricky. It's sus as fuck.
Sus as fuck.
All right. I think we touched on anything we wanted to touch on. Giveaway. That's good. Talked about the awesome election that's going on right now. It's chaotic as hell. Talked about Ant House Beats.
You got the touch. You got the power.
All right. Moving on to our first topic. Movie review time. Apple Plus TV or Apple TV Plus recently released the movie On the Rocks, starring Bill Murray, Rashida Jones, and Marlon Wayans.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere for me.
I was not expecting that. I was not expecting Marlon Wayans. But this is somewhat of a dramedy in the vein of Lost in Translation.
Yep.
A little bit more fluffier than Lost in Translation, which was directed by Sofia Coppola as well. So, I mean, she's familiar with Bill Murray. Obviously, Rashida Jones is a very talented actress as well. But this dropped. We were like, hey, man, let's check out Bill Murray. We've talked about this before in the past. We love watching these well-known comedy guys kind of branch out and take on some more drama-driven roles. And Bill Murray set that precedent for himself a long time ago when Lost in Translation came out. And he was up for many awards. I don't think he got an Oscar nomination, but he was like close to getting an Oscar nomination for Lost in Translation. And he was really, really good in it. That story is a lot deeper than what we get here.
Sure.
But I feel like there's a good story here.
Yeah.
It's a little, like I said, it's a little fluffier, a little bit more lighthearted than I would like to have seen from a Sofia Coppola movie. She's always really good at exploring a lot of different, more poignant themes, especially when it comes to marriage. The Lost in Translation was Bill Murray, is a famous star in a failing marriage, dealing with that. And now Rashida Jones is kind of like, she's married to Marlon Wayans. They've been together for a long time, and their marriage, I don't want to say it's on the rocks, but it's got there's some issues that she has with that's a good one, man. She has some issues with Marlon Wayans, as all marriages do. She's wondering if she's good enough for him. There's certain things that he's doing that's raising red flags, and Bill Murray is her father, and he kind of comes into to kind of help her out, get her through things. But
ironically,
but Bill Murray has kind of like demons of his own in this movie. He's not a perfect father. He's everything but a perfect father, but he's trying to be there for his daughter as she's going through these difficult times. But before we get into more of that, I want to get your initial thoughts on what you thought of On the Rocks.
Well, I want to say I'm going to get the elephant out of the room on this one. Is that how you say that?
Address the elephant.
Address, whatever.
We can't get it out of the room. It's a huge elephant.
Okay. Fair enough. I think Rashida Jones is a terrible actress, and she actually drives me nuts. I love Parks and Rec, but she was definitely one of the weakest links in that, unfortunately. No, I love the bit. Death already did it. Ann Perkins, I love Parks and Rec. I don't clearly dislike her personally. I just don't think she's entertaining. She's kind of dry. I felt like this movie would have benefited much more from somebody who wasn't kind of the meh cardboard. Like, that was my biggest takeaway from it. Now, it's a serious movie, like you said, a little bit more fluffy than you thought. She had good chemistry with Bill Murray, but again, I feel like it was just wasted because I feel like she's not somebody who conveys emotion in any form very well. So, like, even in the times where she would get pseudo upset or whatever, it just felt like so forced. Like, I was very surprised that she was, like, honestly a star in this. Like, after Parks and Rec, to me, honestly, I've only seen her on Billy on the Street or something like that. So I don't know what else she's done. I don't really pay attention. Like I said, I'm not really a fan of her work anyways because she's not entertaining to me. I mean, she was with all these great people in Parks and Rec, which is hard, don't get me wrong, because there's a lot of, like, top people in that. But, like, everybody in that also played, like, some form of, like, role very well. She never did for me. I actually find her more annoying than anything. But in this, it kind of carried over to me too. I just couldn't get past that, and it's a shame because, like, the story, it's really odd because the story is definitely a very, like, realistic take, and, like, the movie really was almost not much about, like, what you thought it was. It was trying to be about maybe her and her husband, but really, if anything, it was about Bill Murray.
Yeah,
which I thought was really unique. Like, you know, anytime he was trying to guide her on stuff, she would just point out, like, this is funny coming from you. Like, where were you? And stuff like that.
Yep.
And I feel like the whole point of the adventurishness of this, of him trying to do what he was doing, even though it was completely ridiculous, was trying to use his shit-ass perspective to bring it back to to being there for his daughter. In his way, which is weird because, like, it's not very, what's what I'm looking for? Not healthy, at all.
Yeah, no, and I totally get what you're saying. Like, you know, he's obviously, he was a shitty husband, he was a shitty father.
Yeah.
You know, he had, you know, he raised his daughter, or he had his daughter with her mom. Then he left her, went and married, got with somebody else, ended up leaving that one. I mean, he's just been a habitual cheater.
He's a womanizer.
He's a womanizer. He's
Big time.
The way he treats women in this movie. I mean, at times he seems charming, but other times you're just like, he's really just kind of obnoxious.
Kind of a sleaze.
Yeah, he's very sleazy. Obviously very successful guy. He's made a lot of money. He's able to travel everywhere. So he's kind of one of those, like, free spirit type of people. And maybe I don't know if he's afraid of a commitment, but
yes,
you know, he's gone through his entire life, you know, being kind of a sleazeball. And so when he finds out from his daughter that, you know, she's suspecting her husband's up to something, Bill Murray jumps in and he's like, you know, I'm going to be the hero here because I know the signs and what to look for and all this stuff.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's almost kind of like Bill Murray is almost hoping to prove it's true, because then he can be like, see, see,
he can be almost kind of like a hero, maybe.
Yeah,
to
it was
her.
it was like an anti-hero in some ways. You know, he's just like, you know,
like
he's
that.
trying to be this hero to his daughter, but at the same time, he's also trying to make himself feel better by going, look, all guys are like this. And multiple times in the movie, he's talking about that guys do this for this or guys do this for that. And you're just like, I don't think he fully understands.
In the meantime, a waitress walks by and he's like,
yeah,
he's in front of her.
He's constantly he's just like you said, he's a womanizer. And so, you know, I think there are some interesting elements. I actually thought Rashida Jones was kind of good in this movie. Like you said, she's not quite, you know, over the top conveying emotion. I feel like some of her stuff is more subtle. You know, there's multiple scenes where she's obviously got a lot on her mind with her husband, but then she's interacting with other people who are talking about their shitty relationships and, you know, and all this stuff, and it's just weighing down on her. And you kind of, I got that sense from her a lot in this movie. And it's like, man, it's really kind of she's in a bad position. She's got all this shit going on. She's analyzing and stuff, and then she's hearing about these terrible relationships that these other people are in. You're just like, man, she's really just struggling, and she's worried that her life is coming to an end in terms of her marriage. She's got 2 kids with Marlon Wayans. But, you know, obviously we won't spoil what happens, but, you know, you get to a point in the movie where she kind of faces off against Bill Murray and has a good scene with him where she's kind of like, look, you know, not everybody is like you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's just, I feel like there's good roles. And I love seeing Bill Murray in these types of roles because, again, he's obviously hilarious when he's in a balls out comedy. But when you kind of get this role where you're just like, Bill, just be your dry, cool self.
I thought he was awesome.
He exudes his confidence, his charisma in such good ways when he's in these dramas as opposed to comedies.
Yes.
And he in every scene he's in, you're just like, God, it's effortless for this guy.
That's the perfect word for it. Like when you're watching this and you're just like, even in like when you go back to like any of his any comedy, like even when he was in Zombieland, for fuck's sake, it's such a fucking fun cameo. And it's everything he does is so effortless, and it translates to his drama as well too. But honestly, it's almost more awestruck because you're like, when he's playing even this character here, it feels like it's a real character.
Yep.
There's just something about him. And I don't think a lot of actors and actresses can do that. Maybe they do, and maybe I'm off on that. But I'm just saying, like for Bill Murray specifically, when I'm watching a movie like this and he's doing something that's more serious, he's so good at it that I'm completely, as a watcher, I'm believing everything that he's doing and saying, and it's almost like it's not Bill Murray. It's almost like that character.
Yeah, he's really good, and I feel if there's one criticism I have of the movie, it's too short. I feel it's very breezy.
I felt so too,
and I would have liked to have them kind of explore Bill Murray's character a little bit more.
Absolutely,
because I feel like there was a lot of stuff that they could have gone into that would have fleshed everything out. The relationship with his daughter, and there was a couple of things with some of the things, the signs that she got from Marlon Wayans, and some of the stuff they addressed later on and kind of brings things together. But there's a couple of things I would have liked that they kind of just things happen. She was bothered by it, but then it was just like it never explored. Like at the beginning, when he comes home and he has that moment, they never really explain why he acts the way he does. But there's other things that she's suspect about that they address later on, like, oh, that's what he was doing at that store. Or
it was very like misleading, like almost like too much purposely misleading, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was trying to throw you off, like, oh, he's a scumbag, he's cheating because he reacted this way. And, there's certain things that later on they're like, oh, I saw him doing this. You're like, he's cheating. See, he's cheating. But then they address that thing later on. You're like, oh. And then, but they never go back to the major thing. You're like, well, I would have liked to have known why this happened.
Right, exactly.
And again, maybe that's because it's a shorter movie. It's barely an hour and a half. And
it's
just
not
a
even
little
90.
over.
Just maybe just 90.
So, I mean, it's very breezy. It's lighthearted. There's some good laughs. Like I said, Bill Murray is Bill Murray, and he's awesome in it. But in terms of, like, compared to, like, Sofia Coppola's previous work, I don't feel like it touches the depths of like the human emotion and the things that she typically explores in her movies. I feel like Lost in Translation is still the pinnacle for her and for Bill Murray as well in these types of movies. It's good. It's entertaining. If you're sitting around with the wife one night and you want to watch something that you guys can watch and maybe learn things and what have you, it's a good watch. It's entertaining, but it's a little fluffy, a little lighthearted.
Yep. It's an enjoyable movie. I honestly would say, unlike some of the recent stuff that we've talked about where I'm like, I don't watch it, or maybe wait till whatever. This is something that, like, I don't know necessarily that I would rent right away or jump onto. But if it's like, oh, hey, check that out, it's available, I can watch it, I would say at least watch it. It's enjoyable. Yeah,
absolutely. It's definitely worth a look. It's too, again, we're different on this. I think Rashida Jones is pretty good in this movie, and I think she goes off. I think she goes really well with Bill Murray because they both. You mentioned dry, but probably not in the sense that I'm going to say is she's got good dry humor in this as well. She's got good chemistry with Bill Murray. She feeds off him, and she never lets Bill Murray steal every single scene. He's good in every scene, and Bill Murray's going to steal scenes no matter what movies he's in. But she doesn't just let him run rampant on the whole movie. She does pretty good, in my opinion. I thought she was pretty good alongside.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I guess if you could be talking to wet cardboard.
Jeez, okay. So you got something against women. Wow. Glad I'm associated with you.
I'm just saying that. No, shut up. I'm just saying that Rashida Jones is not entertaining to me. And that's from somebody who is probably a super fan of Parks and Rec. I watch it every year at least once. So she's always just been a blip on that radar, but that's it on that show. And she's just not entertaining to me. And she really wasn't in this. I felt like some of the back and forth of some of the emotional moments would have been better given to somebody that has more range.
Right. Oh, okay. That's I can definitely see where you're wrong there. That's I get it totally. Josh says, I think that's just who Bill Murray is. Always on, always entertaining. Absolutely. I mean, the guy, like I said, it's effortless for this guy to show up in a movie and be entertaining and just have you be like, man, he's so funny. He's so funny. If you see a movie with Bill Murray, you're watching the fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. Yeah. So if you get a chance, check it out. If you have Apple Plus. You could waste time in much worse ways,
absolutely,
than this. So definitely give it a look. See. Now we're gonna move on to the topic that I know you want to talk about. We want to get this one out of the way because I know it wasn't anything super awesome, unlike what we're gonna talk about next, which was really fucking awesome. Boom. The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
Season 2, Episode 1, or Chapter 9, as they called it.
Actually, they did, which is very good
9.
catch. Yes.
It was
Actually,
Chapter 9. We didn't get
very
Season
chappy.
2. It was just Chapter 9. Tone, I'm going to let you take off here. First, I want to get your overall thoughts. And then I want to dig into some of the things that you really, really enjoyed.
First thing I'm going to say is if you have not yet seen this, it has been at least 48 to 72 hours. Mute if you want. We're going to avoid spoilers as best as possible, but we can't guarantee that because, honestly, at this point, if you're not excited about it and haven't been able to watch it,
you probably don't care.
Maybe you don't, at least as much as I do. But
I mean, and we want to let you know, going forward, we're going to try to approach these, address these episodes a little bit more in depth, as opposed to being so general about stuff. Like there's certain specific things, Easter eggs, or maybe developments that we're going to discuss. Because honestly, this is a show that drops on Fridays. Our show doesn't go on till Wednesdays. Typically, and it's 2 weeks, so typically you have plenty of time to watch those episodes. Right. In the meantime, we do want to talk about, but again, we're not gonna delve deep into everything and spoil it completely, but we are going to address certain elements of the show.
So yes, so if you want to take a few minutes and mute or pause or whatever for right now, understand that's fine. Like I said, we're not going to dive too deep and pull apart a lot of things. I don't want to get too crazy spoilery, but again, part of the show here is us diving sometimes deep into certain mythos or entertainment that we enjoy. So yes, okay, first of all, season 1, chapter 1 of Mandalorian was 39 minutes long.
Sure was.
This one, chapter 9 of season 2, was 54 minutes long. So right out the gate, you're like, oh shit, I'm getting close to the hour mark. That's exciting,
buddy.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because originally with the first season, I'm thinking, okay, so Dave's coming from cartoons. He's bringing these characters to life. It's going to be close to the half-hour mark. Makes sense. Fine. Whatever. Move on. So now I'm the threshold's there. Like I want 50-some minutes, every episode of this entire season. But overall, first of all, point blank, the episode was fucking amazing.
Pretty good.
From a hardcore standpoint, there was, as per usual, really 2, 3, maybe huge brain-busting Easter eggs. Big stuff. Yes, spoiler warning, Jay Hill. It was a bigger episode than the others. And Cap probably doesn't care.
Come back in about 10 minutes, Cap.
Yeah. Go let the dogs out. Do what you got to do. All right, so big episode. It's called The Marshal, which instantly, to me, knowing some of the background, like the Aftermath books, though I haven't read it because I'm a piece of shit and barely have time to feel like I read books. I knew right away they were talking about a certain character, and sure enough, because we knew about this last year, he had been casted, Timothy Oliphant, as the Marshal, Cobb Vanth. Now, Cobb Vanth was introduced into the Aftermath book and stuff, and you walk into this small town. I want to say Mos Pelos or something like that. I'm probably saying that wrong. And you see him walk in. Well, why don't you talk to the Marshal yourself? You look over, and there's a dude sitting there with the fucking Boba Fett's Mandalorian armor on. You're like, oh, hello. I have not seen you since like the mid '80s. How you doing? How you doing there, Chewbacca? So instantly you're like, oh fuck, is this Boba Fett? Takes the helmet off pretty fast, and you realize it's not Timothy Oliphant. He's basically playing a character from Justified, which is perfectly fine.
Which he's almost like built for. I'm worried about him being typecast as a Western guy.
Fine,
because he nails it.
He's awesome.
He's really good in it. Yeah.
So that was dope as shit. And he's already going back and forth, and a lot of times, sometimes when he plays certain roles, he's got this almost like, if he plays an evil role, like he's not overly like this brooding like evil guy, but he's got this kind of sense of him. And this, you could tell it was way more chill and laid back. Yep. You got that really like that nice kind of sheriffy feeling from him. So instantly, like we were within the first 10 minutes, you're like, oh fuck, Timothy Oliphant's in this. Is fucking awesome, right? And then things just start happening. Like they're trying to go back and forth. Instantly, Mando's like, yo, bro, you got to get that shit off you. You ain't a Mandalorian.
Yeah, you can't wear that
That's
shit.
Not part of the creed. I'm taking that or whatever. And they get to go back and forth for a hot second, and then shit that's going on in the town area happens, and you're like, oh fuck, well, that was a big deal. And like I said, I'm gonna try and not go too deep into everything spoilerly, but the thing that's involved here is I don't know for sure if it had been recanonized under Disney, but this was something that we were all fans of. If you're old school canon and some of the older games like Knights of the Republic and Star Wars Galaxies particularly is back, and it's kind of got a new look from what we're used to, and that alone was enough to have me almost jumping out of the couch. So you fast forward a little bit. You get to deal with more Tuskens. You're in Tatooine,
Yep.
So you're dealing with Sand People, which is really exciting because that's one of my favorite pieces of all Star Wars as well too. But what they did interesting with this was that unlike some of the movies when you're dealing with Anakin and Sand People and through all the movies, A New Hope and everything, is that you kind of get this feeling like they're just vile monsters, and I slayed them like monsters, and not just the men, but the women and the children, and he does all the bullshit, and he's whatever with the lightsaber. This kind of gives him a different side,
fleshes them out big time,
right? Yep. Kind of makes them more look like they like if you take the time and you can communicate, you can find some common ground.
Everyone's got a price,
right? Exactly, and I really like that. It was something you didn't get to see a whole lot, and that was awesome. And then you're seeing, of course, they're coming together for a common enemy, like what happens,
which was dope,
which was very dope. The entire setup for it, everything that's going on, everything from the setup to the execution of it was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
One cool Easter egg that you do get is when I'm watching this and they're driving around and it looks like they're going through the Boonta Eve, I think that's what it's called, from episode 1 where they're in the pod race stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, bro, his swoop looks like a pod racer. And sure as shit, it was Anakin's pod racer engine. Well, that's what they theorized. No one's actually officially come out and said it, but when you look at the pictures, it's clearly Anakin, one of his pod racer engines, and they're driving around. That was pretty fucking sweet. Like, that's one thing the series has done very well since they come from Clone Wars, which is directly tied to the prequels, is that even though they're in Civil War or post-Civil War era, they are still tying back to the prequels, because the prequels, since they were polarizing for some people, they always don't get enough love. So it's cool that they do that, because that's where Dave's background comes from, is a lot involving that. So for the most part at that point, they deal with their common enemy the way they best they can. Mm-hmm. It's resolved one way or another. You do get a very cool Easter egg that I was really excited to see when they're dealing with it and they're separating their ways, and the Tuskens had said, hey, if we do win or whatever, there's certain conditions. Icor was the word used, and they found it, and it was very hype. That was the biggest piece for me for the episode. And then, not even 2 minutes later, you get a whole reveal.
Oh man,
from a character that you haven't seen since literally a long time. Like say a long time.
Galaxy far away.
Thank you. Since the 80s, and that's been recanonized. That character's back. Really, really hype. There's a lot of like mysticism with that character and a lot of back and forth. It's usually split. People love, people hate. I'm a huge fan. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm a huge fan of the series, because I love Mandalorians. I love the timepiece. It was super, super hype for that to come through. So, as you can clearly see, at the end of the day, with Mandalorian always doing what it does, which is bring in everybody that enjoys Star Wars, loves Star Wars or whatever, but pays homage to the core fans, the hardcore fans, people like me, people like Drassen, that live and breathe Star Wars every day of our lives. And it was 54 minutes. I've watched it 3 times. So if you haven't seen it yet, I've managed to find time to watch it 3 times. I watched it 3 times since, and probably will watch a 4th before Friday.
What you just said there, Josh asked, is this a show that I can enjoy? If I don't know all the lore, if he's just familiar with the movies, is this a show he can enjoy? I mean, obviously, if you enjoy the Star Wars theme, if you enjoy everything that you've seen in the movies, you're going to get a lot out of this show. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff. There might be some callbacks or references that you'd be like, oh, shit, I know what that is. But there's going to be stuff like him. Like when Tone was watching, I had to go back to him. I immediately messaged him after. I was like, all right, what was this?
Right.
What was this? Because I know there's some there's some semblance of there's something important about what we just saw. And he was like, oh, well, yeah, that's something you probably wouldn't know because it's deep in the lore. Whether in the books or in the cartoons, something that maybe I wouldn't have seen. And I was like, oh, shit. And again, it might have been just a one-off thing, just a little bit of fanfare, but it's something that diehard fans, people who love all this, the deep lore of Star Wars can be like, oh, fuck, man, that was rad that they showed that. And again, I didn't understand it, but it's not something that a lot of people would understand. It's for the hardcore fans. But there were other things in there that, for myself, outside of the movies, I've got little experience with the cartoons. I don't have a long experience. I have no experience with the books, but there's always still some things, Josh, where you're just like, oh fuck, oh man, that's sweet. I remember what that is. There's a lot going on, and even the big reveal at the end of the show. At first, I was more interested in the weapons the guy had on his back.
Sure.
He had, what was it, the
gaffy stick and the Tuscan rifle.
Right, and immediately I was like, oh, is this one of these guys? And then he turned around, and I was like, man, wait a minute, I wasn't sure. And I came back to you. I was like, who was that? And you were like, so and so. I was like, oh, that's the same actor. I was like, oh shit, okay, that's the dude. Okay, got it. And so it was really, really cool to have that kind of because I didn't recognize that. He looks different. He looks way different, who we see. And I was just like, oh shit, okay. But dude, it was really, 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 it's a really good episode. And the thing that I really love, and Josh, I think you'll appreciate this too, because you just got a big ass TV, is they don't cost cut for this show.
Their budget went up for the second season.
The special effects, this is like a fucking Star Wars full production movie. It's really, really good. Like everything, nothing looks chintzy or cheap. It all looks, you're just like, fuck, man, they spared no expense. I mean, they went all out for this thing. And it's super entertaining. Obviously, the Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal, he's just, even though the man's acting under armor, his body language and his delivery really allows him to flesh out the Mandalorian. I mean, he's really, really good in this show. But then you pair him up with somebody like Timothy Olyphant, where he doesn't have to wear his helmet. And obviously, Timothy Olyphant, he can command the screen. He's a charismatic actor. He's entertaining. He's fun. And you get somebody like that with the show. And last season, what's the girl's name that was in last season? She's the MMA girl. Sweet, yeah,
Cara Dune, but whatever. Real
you bring in people like that to kind of like complement the Mandalorian, and you bring in these people who are just charismatic. Yeah, Gina Carano. Thank you,
thank you, Jesus.
But yeah, I mean, it's entertaining, Josh, and the thing that I like about it, and I haven't been spoiled by the Netflix release of things where they drop everything at once. So you gotta you can just burn through everything.
I'm a binger.
I know binging is fun, but I love this because it gets me excited for the next episode.
It does.
And I'm going to wait and watch it. And like you said, it gives you an opportunity to watch it 3 times, 4 times to really kind of soak it up and try to figure out where they're going with these certain characters, where the storyline is going to be for the season. And it kind of gets me hyped for Friday nights because this is what I was telling you about this. This is one thing I really dig about this show, man. It's like last season, Melissa and I would watch this show, but my youngest son, Ethan, I just drowned him in Star Wars shit when he was younger, and his baby carrot, all this. I would always constantly have Star Wars on, and so he started watching Mandalorian with us last season, and then I talked to Melissa, 2 weeks ago. I was like, "Hey, the Mandalorian comes back. It's gonna be on next Friday. Maybe we should watch it." And I knew Ethan was nearby, and so we'll roll around the next week, and Ethan starts going up to my wife like on Thursday. She goes, "What are we doing tonight, mommy? Or what are we doing tomorrow night?" She's like, well, I don't know. You want to watch a movie or something? He goes, oh, no. I mean, that's cool. I was just wondering what you guys were doing tomorrow night. And then Friday rolls around. He goes, so what are we doing tonight? And I'm like, well, what do you want to do? He goes, is Mando on? He calls him Mando. And I'm like, yeah, Mando's on. He's like, can we watch? I was like, yeah, all right, let's go. So awesome. he loves being down here for the Mandalorian. He's a huge fan of obviously Baby Yoda.
Oh yeah.
But obviously just an awesome fucking show. Who's got the Disney Plus deal? You convinced me. Hulu has a deal with Disney, right? I think where they get ESPN Plus as well.
Yeah, because Hulu owns like over 50% of Hulu. So there's something that you can kind of add the two together. Something I think it's the cheapest route to do it. But
yeah, definitely give it a look, Josh. I think you'll dig it, dude.
Yeah, and Jay, you asked basically like, do you have to have prior knowledge of some of the stuff? No. Now it's thick with that stuff for guys like me and like Drasten said earlier too. We had to have a phone call after the episode. We had to have a phone call to talk about it because it was nothing we could do in text or voice message. We had to have a phone call and like, literally like process the entire episode together.
Right.
And that's just how deep the nerddom goes sometimes with this shit with me. But you could literally if you took out all the other Star Wars stuff or all the background stuff, this is just a series that stands on its own. It's a fucking sci-fi Western. More than, the plan was for all of Star Wars to always kind of be a sci-fi Western.
Right.
This really kind of dials it back, that New Hope, more New Hope than anything.
Right.
That gives it that feel that it's sci-fi, but yes, it's kind of Western. You're seeing Tatooine, you're seeing these kind of like, these planets that either you're familiar to or just like those new locales, different aliens, all kinds of cool stuff. So you don't have to have prior knowledge of any of that stuff.
But I mean, even if you're just familiar with the movies, you're gonna still catch stuff. You can make, oh shit, I remember that.
Right. There will be things that you'll recognize and spots. I mean, everybody knows Tatooine. Everybody knows that there's 2 suns on it. You know what I mean? So there's just something. Everybody's heard of the Sarlacc pit. There's all kinds of stuff that you're always gonna be like, oh, okay. It's enough to like. You'll be like, oh yeah, cool.
And at the end of the day, it's also just a really good story. I mean, it's really interesting.
It's very well written.
Yeah, there's a lot of people wondering, what is going to be the end game with Baby Yoda? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people want to know, and it's creating its own path through the lore, and it's creating a whole new storyline arc, a story arc to follow, and it's really entertaining, dude. I think you will definitely dig it for sure, absolutely. Anything else you want to add? Oh, so yes, going forward. Obviously, the next show will be on November 18th. 2 weeks from now, we will definitely be talking about this week's episode and next week's episode. So we'll be talking about chapter 10 and 11. Chapters 10 and 11. If you want to be part of the conversation, again, we won't get too deep into spoiler territory. Right. We're going to talk about certain things because I feel like that's what we really want to do. We want to talk about this stuff, but at the same time, we want to toe that line. You know what I'm saying? Toe that line. Make sure we're not talking about too much stuff.
Hello. Hi. Oh, hi. Somebody says Fanboytone along.
Tammy Zish.
Well, hello. Nice to see you.
Well, hello there. All right. Moving on to what is arguably one of the biggest topics of the evening.
Mando's the biggest. Just kidding.
It is a pretty big topic. But next week,
yes,
ladies and gentlemen, we've been waiting 7 years.
7 long.
7 years for the new consoles, and you know what? They're dropping next week. Tuesday, November 10th, Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, which continues to sound like the worst option ever. And on November 12th, PlayStation 5. Did you see the story this week about the Xbox Series S? How it comes with a certain amount of room on it. It only has 364 gigs of space on it.
Yep.
And then did you see how Call of Duty today was like 136 gigs?
No, it was like 208.
They corrected it. They were
That was a mistake?
That was a mistake.
Because I was like, what the fuck?
It's like 130 some gigs. So that is almost half of the Xbox Series S.
Wow.
You know what they said? I read this and honestly, if you're not playing, I feel like the Xbox Series S is geared towards people who are playing only Call of Duty or only FIFA or Fortnite. And for them folks, it's awesome. But if you're just looking for the next-gen system, if you're looking to experience everything, you buy cheap, buy twice. I mean, when I see it was 364 gigs of space available with the way these games are looking, how big they're getting, woo!
The S is basically for those folks that aren't huge gamers and just want to at least play the new games. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Save your pennies. Wait for that X.
Yeah,
because you're just. It's cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it's great for folks that just either don't game a whole lot or game on a budget with Game Pass and things like that. Can delete and reinstall. That makes sense to me. If we called it a Game Pass machine, that's a great name for it. I think that would be fine as well too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that like that kind of storage space in this day and age is not very excusable in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. No, it's and I mean we still haven't heard from PlayStation how much their proprietary or not. Well, obviously they don't have proprietary, but the compatible SSD drives will be.
We don't know because third parties can make them.
Yes.
We just don't know what those look like, what they could cost. Because when I bought my PlayStation 4 in 2013, I literally within a month bought a 2 terabyte internal hard drive that I still use today from all the 3 or 4 of the systems that I've had of that system.
Yeah.
And like that's important because I'm going to want to know that right away because I'm one of those people like, yeah, I can manage a terabyte, but now that they're bigger, it's going to be harder to manage a terabyte. Give me 2.
Yeah, no, I've already accepted the fact that for the digital version specifically, I mean, what I have over there, I'm not worried about the digital version. I'm going to have to find a compatible SSD internal drive to put into my PlayStation 5 because I believe the PlayStation 5 says like on the box 850 gigs, but after the fact it's like 625 available.
I thought it said 1 terabyte, and after all the OS and stuff, it was like 800.
I was reading today that there's only like just under 700 of actual space available.
Fuck, are you serious? You really saw that?
Yeah.
I didn't see that today at all.
Like I said, it's going to be difficult for people who like to play a lot of games or whatever. I mean, it's going to make things difficult, and those internal SSD drives are going to be hot sellers. I mean, I guess depending on the price, but they're going to be pricey. They're SSDs, but hopefully they'll keep it kind of manageable for the people who want to buy one and install them. But
I mean, the first party one for the Xbox One Series X is not one, but Xbox Series X is what, $225 for their. Like, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But you can still use external hard drives on it, I believe.
You can use external hard drives. You can't play off them. Like if you install a PS5 game on your external hard drive, if you want to move it over there,
and we're talking Sony on this one. I'm
talking about any external, like this external hard drive right here has all my PS4 games.
Right.
I can take this, plug it into my PS5. Okay. I can't play the games off it. I have to shift it over to the PS5 hard drive to play it, and then I can shift it back if I'm done with it. So I mean, it's just the externals will work fine. You just can't play the games off. It has to run off the PlayStation 5's hard drive.
So how long is it going to transfer? Like,
a lot of people said it takes about 10 minutes to go from a big title from
which is better than downloading a full game.
It really is.
Okay.
If you have it, you can play PS4 games from the external, not the PS5, if I remember correctly. You can play PS4. Okay, maybe that's what it is. Maybe Brian might know. Brian, if you get a chance, maybe check that and confirm that if you can. But I was under the impression that you can play anything off the external, but maybe you can play PS4 card games off the external, which would be nice. But I always thought you had to move everything back and forth. That's maybe it's PS5 games. We'll check on that for sure. But like, yeah, man. I mean, they're dropping next week. We've got ours pre-ordered. We're excited about jumping into it.
Very.
But like, yeah, we look at the Xbox Series X, and Josh asked earlier, what games are you going to be playing on your new consoles? So you and I kind of went and looked at the launch titles, and we're talking specifically launching next week, not games that are in the launch window dropping in December or anything like that. We're talking about at launch. And, I'm excited about Xbox Series X. I'm excited about Game Pass. I'm excited about the future of first-party games from Microsoft Studios. But when I look at the two launch lists for these systems, the Xbox list is very disappointing. A lot of the games that I was interested in, Scorn, The Ascent was just delayed to 2021. That was a game I was super interested in. The Medium, a game I'm interested in. That doesn't come out till December.
Shame.
At launch on the Xbox, yes. Don't get me wrong. Their Game Pass is amazing, and you're going to have a shit ton of fucking games to play on Game Pass if you have Game Pass. And a lot of these games are going to benefit. They're going to benefit greatly from the Xbox Series X. They're going to run better. They're going to load faster. There's a lot to benefit from it.
Right.
But in terms of launch titles, like to showcase your system, outside of Falconeer or Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the Microsoft launch titles are pretty weak, in my opinion. Because a lot of them, the games that they're pumping or trying to get people excited about are games that have been out for a while now. It's like, Gears 5 runs at dynamic 4K. Cool, Gears 5 has been out for like a year and a half now. Gears Tactics coming to console. Cool, it's been on PC for this last year. Borderlands 3, nobody cares.
Darn right.
I mean, it's just there's again, for value, an Xbox Series X and Game Pass, incredible value.
Oh, absolutely.
Incredible value. You're going to have a lot of shit to play going forward, and all Microsoft's first-party titles, I believe most of them, are going to launch in Game Pass. So you're going to have a lot to play. Here's the link. PS5 games need to be off the SSD for the speed. PS4 can be played directly from the external hard. Oh, that's good then. That's pretty good.
That's just
not horrible.
Yeah.
It's not horrible. There you go. Thank you, Brian, for putting that in. Appreciate it. So, again, PS5 games need to be off the SSD for the speed. They're going to be built specifically for it. However, if you have PS4 games you want to play that'll benefit from the system, you can play it from the external hard drive.
That's not too bad then.
Game Pass is amazing. No, I will never, ever discredit Game Pass.
Is awesome.
ever. Game Pass is fucking amazing. But I'm sorry, the launch titles for the Xbox Series X, outside of Falconeer and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it's weak. It's a weak lineup. It is what it is. And it's nothing. I'm going to enjoy the system. There's going to be a lot to play in the future. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to in the future.
Right.
But in terms of the Xbox launch titles, not too thrilled about it.
I mean, Valhalla is exciting, but it's still a big third-party title. Guess what? You can play it on PlayStation 5 as well, too. So when you're talking about, like, and I know sometimes we spin around with first-party and third-party, but generally, like, if you're saying on launch, like, you know, sadly, we're not getting Knack 3. Sorry, by the way, on launch day for PS5. But you know what I mean? Like, you got to have something that sets you apart from the others. Like, what are you enticing me? Like, okay, so I've got a little bit better graphics, come over here, a little bit faster, come over here. Well, I can play Valhalla anywhere, so it don't matter, right? I can play it on PC if I want.
Right.
But yeah, so when you look at them, you're like, okay, well, these are what my options are. Whether it's first or third party, there just isn't a lot of, like, you know, besides Game Pass being great for the amount of games you can play, but guess what? Everybody on Xbox One's playing the games, so you're having better graphics. You're not setting yourself apart from each other. Besides that, you just spent $500 on an Xbox One machine.
Right. You
know, so I mean that's a in my opinion, it's a big deal, and I think you kind of agree with that too as well. You know, so I'm not getting an Xbox Series X day one that I know of right now, and that's a lot tailored to the fact that games I don't get the value out of Game Pass because I don't play. I play one game when I can play it, and I focus on that. There's not, again, when it comes down to exclusives and big titles that is going to draw me in, there's really only one game that I care about, and I've had that pre-ordered for 2 fucking years. So, like, you know, anything else, and both systems, like, even honestly, there's only one game on PlayStation 5 that I really, really care about day one. That's it.
It's,
to me,
Miles?
that's even, yeah, and to me, Miles Morales. And to me, that makes that PlayStation's lineup for PS5 is also kind of meh as well, too.
Yeah, and I mean, and like for myself, you know, I look at the PlayStation 5's lineup, and yeah, a lot of the third-party games that are dropping on PlayStation 5 are also going to be on Xbox Series X. But I feel like in terms of launch titles, the PS5 just really kind of walks away with this one. It's kind of really easy. I mean, you've got the Demon Souls remake. Now, look, Demon Souls is not for everybody. Okay, Demon Souls is not for everybody. It's a hard-ass fucking game. It's masochistic in nature. You're going to die a lot. But damn, did you see that video, the 5-minute gameplay video? Guys, girls, if you want to see some hot shit, go on YouTube, go to the PlayStation channel, and look up their Demon Souls gameplay. 5 minutes. I fucking suck at Demon Soul games. I suck at Dark Souls. I suck at any of these games that are masochistic as fucking nature because I mash buttons too much. But I feel like Ghost of Tsushima might have helped with that. We'll see. We'll see.
It may have.
But man, this game looks fucking nuts.
Yeah, it does.
Nuts. And I'm honestly this close to making the purchase. I wasn't going to. I was going to wait for a sale. But man, I want to see that shit on my big screen with the HDR, the 4K. Yeah. I want all that smoke. Okay? I want all of it. I'm this close to pre-ordering it.
And Smilk's he's a big Souls player as well too.
Oh, is he? Okay, nice.
He's a big Souls player. Yeah, it's the same thing for me. I don't like punching myself in the nards. Like,
but you played through.
I played through Tsushima.
You played through Star Wars. There are some
similarities. It's actually more Bloodborne in nature, though. I think with the stamina bar. I think, or is it Demon Souls?
Yeah,
I don't know. So
it's
like
from the same people.
You know, I think I could listen. If I dial myself in to have patience, I can have patience. I just don't choose to,
right?
Because that's extra work. So I want to play Souls games. I appreciate and respect them and love them. Bloodborne is one of the coolest fucking games just generally I've ever seen. Like, I almost want to re-download that when this comes out just to see what that looks like on PS5. But at the end of the day, I know, like, I keep saying it, like, I can't get too deep right now into a game knowing that theoretically on December 10th, we're going to see Cyberpunk. So
Right.
That's the thing. Like whatever game I start, like Miles Morales is different. It's an actiony game.
And honestly, man, you might be able to beat that by the time Cyberpunk comes out.
Honestly,
I don't think Miles Morales is getting anywhere near the length of the original.
It's
going to be like that. What was that Uncharted game?
Lost Legacy.
Lost Legacy. It's going to be something to that
15,
effect.
20 hours.
15, 20 hours. A good experience that's going to showcase what the PlayStation 5 can do. Yes, it's also going to be on PlayStation 4, but it's going to have the benefits of PlayStation 5, and it's a first-party title, so that's going to be pretty dope. Miss Ultimate Cannon just hosts. Hey, thank you so much, Miss Ultimate Cannon. Appreciate that raid.
Look at that.
Very, very kind of you.
Thank you.
But then, but to continue on with the PlayStation 5's launch lineup, you've got Demon's Souls, Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah.
You've got Sackboy, which actually looks really, really good. You've got the Astro Bot Playroom, which honestly, the Playroom, when it was on PS4, there was a Playroom.
Fucking awesome.
Was a very brief demo.
But it was fun.
This is a sizable game. This is a sizable game, so there's a lot to do there. And then, what is it? Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon's Souls, Sackboy. Missing. There's one more title. There's 5.
Tearaway?
Fucking Tearaway. Damn it, I can't escape you. But anyways, first party support is there. It's really impressive. There's going to be a lot of hype behind their launch lineup. So their launch lineup is definitely more appealing. If you're if you're just going based on systems, first party support, it's not even close. It's just kind of they run away with it there. But you guys, the bottom line is next gen is next week. We're going to see these systems that are substantial in terms of how much more powerful they are than even the Pro and the Xbox One X.
7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
What you drinking, Miss Ultimate Cannon? We are drinking
basically hard seltzer.
Yeah, these are seltzers tonight, but Hell or High Watermelon. And I was expecting something a little bit more watermelon-y. It's just kind of like,
Maybe we need to teach those folks out in San Fran how to do beers.
I mean, this is about right from what I would expect if I went to San Francisco and sat outside and looked at the Golden Gate Bridge. Can I get a strong beer? And like, here, have a high on Hell or High Watermelon. I'd be like, oh fuck, I'm gonna get wasted and just be like, oh, it's basically Truly's. Not nearly as good. Not nearly as good. So, but no, it's and the thing is, like, the one thing I'm really excited about is a lot of the hype that we've heard.
Oh, goodness.
About the DualSense controller.
Is that real?
It is real. So the DualSense controller is launching now. You can pretty much pre-order and get it before launch. It's the only piece that I was able to get. This is where I drop it on the ground and it falls out and breaks. And then I just start crying.
I forgot Miss is a, I believe are you a Microsoft Xbox partner? Is that how that, right?
Oh, she's got the Series S.
She's got a Series S. So we know a few people that have actually got their hands on them. She did say that she's enjoying the Series S right now. That's awesome.
She's on. Hey, that's awesome. What are you playing any games on it, or is it just like exploring the system? So, Miss Ultimate Cannon can give us some insight on that Series S. The tone. Here we go.
This is the first time right now, everybody.
I did not open this.
He got his controller earlier this week, I believe, and you've been saving it for right now.
Yeah.
To open it up live for you.
You'll look here.
DualSense. Looks like something from Portal.
Looks like.
You want me to grab it? What if we just hold on? What if I
fell on the ground?
What if I use this like cliffhanger to hang on to you?
Yeah, John. This is the DualShock 4. This is it in comparison. So obviously it's got a little bit longer grips.
How's the weighting feel?
I'm gonna let you know here in a minute because you're gonna hold it. Don't try.
Definitely feel a bit more. Okay, yeah, there's a little bit more weight there. Definitely way more weight actually. Hold it.
No, why don't you get both hands on it, big boy? Yeah, there you go. I think it feels good in the hands. Feels good. I like the feel. I like the feel of the face buttons.
I like how it feels down here with the 3 fingers too. The triggers feel actually.
I didn't even do that yet. I didn't do the triggers.
The triggers feel spongier than these. Like these feel like when you compare it to like the it feels,
yeah.
These
are way more loose.
This reminds me of like a wider but not so wide of Xbox One controllers of like a 360 controller.
And here's it compared to the Xbox Elite controller side by side.
Now rub it, he says.
Rub it. The Elite controller feels heavier to me. What do you think?
Comparison.
I feel like the Elite controller is heavier.
Good God, yes. There's so much going on with these, though.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do love my Elite controller for the rest too.
But obviously, at face value, I mean, it looks like a new system. It looks like a new controller. It's pretty dope.
So what I was always concerned about, and there is definitely some definition with the lines.
Have you looked close at the controller? Have you looked at the white area? Look closely at it. Like, really get close. No. Yeah, look what the grain is, though. You look close.
Are you going to shove this in my face?
No, but look super close.
Doing something.
Yeah. If you look super close, the grain are square, X, triangle, circles.
Look at it again. You're lying to me.
No, it's the PlayStation symbols. If you got to put it up to your face. He can't see shit because he's old as fuck.
Well, I don't see it.
I don't see it.
No, this is
feels good.
Man, it's the weight, but it's not bad weight. It's not too much weight. This feels more like a standard Xbox One controller, but like everybody kind of thought, because it has that more kind of the feel and look to it. But they're really not that off. It definitely has some girth in certain areas.
Jeez,
man. This is the one thing, like, honestly, my favorite controller of all time in the last 20 years is a Xbox 360 controller. I love the triggers. Super fan. But the one thing that defines all of them always for me is a D-pad.
Yep.
Sony just destroys on D-pads, man.
D-pads are solid, man.
The D-pad on this is just it's actually feels more. Man, that feels. I'm surprised by that. I was very worried about what that was going to feel like when I first touched it. You definitely have thrown this. Holy shit!
You know, dude, that was actually from that. Yeah. It's from Star Wars. That big frog that you struggled with.
Oh, really? Fuck you, bringing that up.
You know, it definitely does feel a little weightier. It's a little weightier, but honestly, it feels balanced. Like when I hold it here, it doesn't feel like it's weightier in one spot or the other. But here's the thing: at the end of the day, I know you and I differ on this. I don't give a fuck how these controllers feel.
We don't super differ.
There's so and I don't know if it's. I mean, I know there are some people who definitely have opinions on controllers about if they're ergonomic or if they're comfortable or not.
Right.
But I feel like a lot of the time, it's more or less for the fanboys and fangirls to fight about. And it's part of the whole dick measuring contest.
Sure.
At the end of the day, dude, I have played thousands of hours on my PS4. I've played thousands of hours on my Xbox One, and I've played 5 hours on my Nintendo Switch. And I can tell you, I don't know the fucking difference between the controllers. At no point have I ever played a shooter or any game going, man, this thing sucks. No, it's me that sucks.
Yes, because I know where we differ now.
Yeah.
I do like I do like the staggered sticks. I do prefer the staggered sticks, and I love the 360 triggers. Now, the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, the first party Pro controller, is an awesome controller. Like, I like it better than the Xbox One. I do not like the Xbox One controller unless it's an Elite. I think the C40 is too fucking sexy. How much more heavier is that than that? So we got an Astro C40 here.
Yeah, this is the Astro C40. This is basically the PlayStation 4's Elite controller.
Right, it's basically a diaper after a Taco Bell run. It's heavy. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. I feel like it's kind of close.
Let me touch it.
Yeah. Get your hands on with that shit.
I think the Astro's definitely heavier, but yeah, it's way more close. Thick is sexy. They're gonna have to do a V2, right? Yeah.
I mean, I hope so. I don't think this one's even going to work on the PlayStation 5.
No, I think
I'm gonna have to sell that thing, which is nice because if you're a PlayStation 4 gamer and you want a nice controller, I will sell this to you.
These sticks are like fucking games, bro.
It's a great controller. It's a great controller.
Jesus,
it's just unfortunate it's not going to fucking work at all with the PS5. Yeah, just throw it. I should have trashed this one instead of the green one. Yep. But no, it feels good. It feels really, really good. I dig it. But now the thing is, if you've watched the videos, you won't even really appreciate this thing until it's working on a PlayStation 5 with the game. Have you seen the video where the guy or girl is holding down this trigger and it's actually fighting back? I don't know what they're playing, but they're holding down the trigger and the trigger is seriously it's pushing back.
Because it needs to be reloaded or something.
It's something that I don't know how the developers are going to use it, but the haptic feedback and the rumble is going to. And I mean, if you look at all the people that have talked about using this thing so far, they say it truly is feeling like a next gen controller. And that's not to say that the Xbox Series X is a bad controller, or the Xbox Elite controller is bad. It's not. It's a great controller. I love it. I won't use a regular Xbox One controller ever again.
Absolutely not.
And I will use this on the Xbox Series X.
Right.
But when you talk about the haptic feedback, there was one where somebody was playing Demon's Souls, and when they blocked with the controller, it felt like the sword hitting on a parry. Like the controller, it's not just like a little rumble or a little bump. It's supposed to, like, again, we can't really talk about it because we don't have anything to play it on, replay it with right now. But this thing, we're not going to appreciate this until
next week.
We're actually playing games with it. But I mean, overall, first impression, I mean, it's a nice looking controller. It's got a clean look to it. I like the look of the buttons, and like you said, the face buttons, they all feel good. They're responsive, but the triggers definitely feel a lot different. They're a lot more spongier.
Yeah.
A little, I don't want to say resistant. Maybe resistant.
But resistant, but spongy resistant.
Yeah. But it feels good. It feels really, really good.
I'm still not a fan of the overall look of the controller. I don't like the split of the, I just
like the touchpad and stuff?
No. I don't like the stick, the two-tone color on it.
Oh, I see what you mean. You want something that's all like one color. Like
right. Or if it's different colors, like, not be like that.
Now, my understanding is, and I haven't tried it yet, but there was an article that came out today that said the faceplates on this are removable. I haven't tried it, but you can basically take these faceplates off and you can be able to customize it.
I wonder if that's a hidden secret because they took down that one website for
third party. They crushed them really quick.
For that console.
Yep, because they were doing faceplates for the actual system. They were trying to sell it and stuff, and then they crushed them really quick.
They do. Those Razer ones are huge, actually, Tamsy.
Nez has one of the Razer Xbox controllers, I believe. I can't use it. It feels huge. I haven't tried the Razer one.
Yeah. I
haven't tried the Razer one. But, I mean, overall, I mean, again, you can't really talk about it until we actually play it, but it feels good. I dig it, dude.
It was just cool to get our hands on it.
Yeah.
Since you got it in early,
Yep.
By chance,
But, yeah, grab them now when you can. And, pretty nice controller. Pretty good. Well, again, we'll talk about a lot more in the next show when we've had our hands on with it in action, playing the game.
Yeah.
So, but Tone, I mean, next week the systems drop. What are you going to be playing?
Definitely Miles Morales.
Miles Morales is definitely your go-to.
It's Spider-Man. It's comic books. It's Spider-Man. It's an amazing series. It's I like the first game. You watch me not stop playing that game, but it's Miles Morales and it's Spider-Man, so I'm really hyped for it. Just generally, honestly, I'm really excited to see the ray tracing,
all that jazz.
Ray tracing in action, I think, is something that I know people talk about, but I think long term, there's a big thing about ray tracing.
Okay,
I'm gonna be honest, and to see that in a console, like I get it, PC, blah blah blah, but Miles Morales, I'm ready.
That's your go-to. I think next week, like I said, I don't have it now, but I'll probably have Demon's Souls next week.
No, you shouldn't. I think you should wait.
I did pre-order Miles Morales, but I also grabbed the edition that comes with the PlayStation 4 upgraded version of Spider-Man, because I've only played about the first 2 hours of Spider-Man, so I'm thinking Spider-Man might be the game I jump into because I'll get the next gen version of it. Plus, then I can roll right into Miles Morales to keep me busy until obviously Cyberpunk comes out. But here's the thing, man. Destiny 2, Beyond Light.
Oh God, that drops next week too. Okay.
But here's the thing: the PS5 and Xbox Series X upgrades don't drop till the 10th of December or December 8th.
Wait,
I can't, dude.
I know you can't.
I can't.
You should just wait.
Beyond Light next week is gonna be dope.
December 10th when Cyberpunk drops. Yeah, you shouldn't pray.
I'm gonna be all over that Destiny shit.
Monster Hunter World. I'd like to see that on next gen. I'll be very honest.
The load times and specifically the frame rate. Honestly, the thing that's going to look really good on the Xbox Series X is going to be these games on the Xbox One that have uncapped frame rates. The games that are uncapped where they don't have a cap on it, they're not locked at a certain frame rate, where it's basically it fluctuates depending on what's going on the screen and what the resolution is. Whereas, so these games that have uncapped frame rates, like Monster Hunter, when you go with the performance mode, it's uncapped. It'll use the Xbox Series X's GPU and everything. And the videos of Monster Hunter World on Xbox Series X are incredible.
Capcom's engines never get enough love for how well they fucking look. I'm not a Devil May Cry person. They are gorgeous games. Capcom's games like that always look really well, and I like I'm excited to see what Monster. I have a hard time with Monster Hunter, but I'm excited to see what it looks like on these systems. Honestly,
like I said, there's gonna be a lot of games on these systems that are going to benefit from the systems and their horsepower and everything there. So, Miss Ultimate, all right, gotta head out, gotta work. Have a great stream. Miss Ultimate, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for the raid. We really appreciate you. Enjoy that Xbox Series S. I know you are. I'm jealous.
We love you.
All I can do is hold a controller, and she gets to play all the good stuff. So that's pretty dope. So check her out. Thank you so much for that raid. Really, really appreciate you for stopping by. Brian says, honestly, I'm getting a PS5 day one, but I'm not buying any PS5 games. I'm going to be cruising on backwards compatibility for a while. Need to clear up that backlog.
Dude,
it's justifiable.
That's completely what I'm mostly doing, except for Cyberpunk coming out and everything stops. I'm actually right now playing Batman Arkham Knight because I never finished it.
That's a good one. I still think Asylum is the best one.
The
I love
first
Asylum.
one, really?
I
thought City was like Asylum did great with some of the character stuff, but City really opened the game up to like more because it gave you that open worldness.
Right. Yep. No, for whatever reason, I just thought the story in Arkham Asylum was more focused because it wasn't so much open world. It was more focused. But man, the Scarecrow levels in that game.
Oh yeah, no, they're the best in Arkham.
Fucking dope.
Yeah, Asylum.
Man.
Oh yeah,
love the Scarecrow levels. They were really, really good. But no, we'll have content next week. Unfortunately, for my personal streams, I'm going to be trading in my last two systems, the ones that I normally use, probably on Friday or Saturday this weekend. So I won't have a stream on Monday night. Probably won't have one Friday night either. I'm going to be getting rid of everything, trading them in, get those things paid off. Tuesday night, I'll have an Xbox Series X. We'll definitely jump into that. Check that out. Wednesday night, we'll do Among Us. B&B Plays, we'll do Among Us. And then Thursday night, I'll have the PlayStation 5. We'll stream some of that, check out some of those games. So we have a lot of stuff going on next week. But again, I won't be on Friday night or anything like that. So trade them. That's a shame. Among Us is so good. It really, really is good. It really, really is good. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to be trading all those things in, man. I'm going to get my systems. And then starting next week is next gen all the way. I'm all in. I'm all in. So
hype.
A lot of cool stuff to look forward to.
Well, let me take a minute of your time. We haven't mentioned the certain big game release that's dropping this week.
Pathless.
Let me get this out. Stop it.
Oh.
We are getting remaster of one of the best Need for Speed games ever. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2010 dropped on 360 and PS3. Huge fan of Rivals from 2013. Forge, Cap, Jared, a.k.a. Zadder, us, we loved and still love. I still play Rivals to this day. But what Rivals was based off of was more the traditional style of Need for Speed, which is Hot Pursuit. It's a remaster. Tomorrow night, midnight. The end.
I'll definitely. I'm considering. You said $40, so that's
$40.
Such a tall order, man. Dude, I'm buying like
$40.
I'm buying like $1,000 worth of shit next week, bro.
Bitch.
You ain't, dude. You'll play that once, and you ain't gonna touch it ever again.
You don't even talk about Need for Speed like that.
I'm telling you what it's all about. You ain't gonna touch that game once after this week, bro.
I'll be playing all weekend.
I'm a millennial. I don't even know what old games. He's dating himself. Hot Pursuit was great. Also,
it was
really, really great.
I really love myself.
All right, moving on from next gen, we gotta take a moment to pay our respects to honestly one of the great actors of our time, Sir Sean Connery, passed away earlier this week at the ripe age of 90. Salute to the man, the myth, Sir Sean Connery, and we'll just take a moment to look back at that career. Obviously, one of the greats. I mean, one of the most charismatic, well-recognized actors of our time. The accent, the look. I mean, it was just, he commanded the screen. He was one of those guys where if he showed up in a movie, you're like, okay, this movie can't be terrible. I mean, seriously, he showed up. I mean, it might be terrible, but he's gonna be the best part about it.
Yep. Yeah, I'm agreeing. I'm trying to rack my brain. It's just to fuck with you, but yep, you win.
But I mean, it's so many iconic characters. Obviously, best well known as James Bond.
Absolutely.
007, and he was a great James Bond. But often people overlook some of his other performances, some of the other roles that were just maybe not quite as iconic as James Bond, but iconic in the actual movies they were in, like really standout performances. And a couple, right here in the middle, Marco Ramius in The Hunt for Red October. I mean, just a fucking intense movie from John McTiernan, the director of Die Hard. He actually passed up doing Die Hard 2 to make this, which I think was a wise choice because at the time, Sean Connery is badass. Alec Baldwin is badass. You even have Sam Neill, Dr. Grant. He's in it. I mean, it's just an awesome movie. And again, it's more of a subtle performance from Sean Connery, but just, again, every time he's on scene. And the character that he plays is absolutely brilliant.
Because, like you said, if it's a shit movie, what you're going to remember is Sean Connery's cameo.
I mean,
honestly,
yeah,
he's the man.
He is.
It's Sean fucking Connery.
He shows up, and obviously, The Rock, John Patrick Mason.
Oh.
I mean,
we can talk shit about Michael Bay all day.
However, arguably Michael Bay's best movie.
Oh, fucking goddamn yeah!
By far, yeah, by
absolutely.
far. I mean, yeah, voted sexiest man when he was like 60. I mean, I've gotten that the last couple of years. I hope I can get it when I'm 60. I have no idea, but yeah, I mean, dude, seriously, Sean Connery. I mean, the accent. Dude, I dated a girl in high school who seriously asked me. She goes, "Can you talk like Sean Connery?" And I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "I got a thing for that." And I was like, "Whoa." No, I can't, but that's hot.
That didn't last very long, by the way.
It lasted a week. She realized I sound more like Seth Rogen, and she was like, no, this isn't going to work. Not going to work. But seriously, I mean, it's just, I mean, a great, I mean, what were some of, I mean, obviously, John Patrick Mason, Marco Ramius.
So, I get real obscure sometimes. I'm a huge fan of Highlander. That's very controversial, I understand that, but he played Ramirez in the original Highlander, and again in Highlander 2, which is, that's controversial. Now, I'm not saying it's a great movie. I'm just saying he was in the movie, right? I'm saying Dragonheart was a big movie for me, which he lended his voice to. Who are you pointing at?
Josh. I like The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I'm mixed on that. I love the fact that he plays Alan Quatermain. But again, to me, the movie had so much greatness and didn't hit the mark for me, but he made the movie because I mean, the concept of the movie is brilliant to me. I think League is dope, but yes, he was in Dragon. I am the last one. It's my favorite line. I loved him in, of course, The Last Crusade. The Last Crusade,
dude,
bro.
Pairing him up with Harrison Ford for Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade.
Indiana was the dog's name.
Do the books thing.
Oh yeah. Tells me that goose-smashing morons like yourself should try reading books instead of buying them.
Spot on. He's spot on. The only one I can do is from Hunt for Red October. It was like, Ryan, be careful what you shoot at. Most things in here don't react well to bullets.
Don't react well to bullets. Yes, that's right. That's right.
I mean, it's just, dude, so many iconic roles. You know, you talk about, Indiana Jones: Last Crusade. I loved him as Jim Malone in The Untouchables with Kevin Costner.
Yep.
I mean, that's the one role where he got nominated for an Oscar in that role, and he is incredible in that movie. I actually posted the scene that I love I love from that movie on Twitter, where he's talking about how you catch Capone, and it's just he was just so good in his roles. Like you were locked on the screen when Sean Connery came around, and he carried a movie. He had a voice you could recognize anywhere. If I cover my eyes and he started, I was like Sean Connery. It was iconic.
Robin of Locksley.
Right. He's like the best actor in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Right. In the last 2 minutes.
I'm still convinced that he was merely just on set or maybe in the next studio, and they're like, "Fuck, man, we don't have anyone to play King."
Richard, I think.
King Richard. We don't have
King
King
Richard?
Hey, Sean, can you come over here and play King Richard? Like, okay, yeah, I'll do this. Sure.
I ain't doing nothing today.
Entrapment, another really, really underrated like Sean Connery flick.
Yeah, it was badass.
Yeah, it was a really, really good movie. I mean, it's just the
Welcome to the Rock.
Isn't it? Who plays him was
Daryl Hammond. I'll take titties for 800, please. It's titles, Mr. Connery. It's titles. Yeah, I'll take titties for 800, please.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude. Daryl Hammond.
I mean, he's played so many great roles, and he's been out of the limelight for quite a while. I mean, I think he got knighted. Was it 20 years ago?
Well, and some of the last was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen like the last movie sets that he was doing.
And he's been out for a long time.
Celebrity Jeopardy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Mackenzie.
But I believe I think it was his widow said that he had been suffering from dementia for the last like 5 or 6 years, so he has been really kind of out of it. And I mean, and that's the thing, man. When you see these actors like Sean Connery, I mean, there's a reason you don't see them for a while because they're trying. I don't want to say they're trying, but I mean, they want you to remember them for who you always want to remember them for.
Right.
You know, you look at like Patrick Swayze towards the end, he did not look like himself. And he was very private, obviously. Another guy that I'm worried about, Gene Hackman. We haven't heard from fucking Gene Hackman in a long time.
He's still alive?
He's still alive, but he's retired. But it's just like these guys, once they hit a certain point and they realize it's the point of no return, they fucking go dark. They stay the fuck out of the spotlight, and they're out. And it's just like...
Yes, Chi.
Yeah, Chi, we already touched on Mandalorian. It's the worst episode ever, and Tone turned it off halfway through. It was disgusting.
It's a lie.
I'll take the rapist for 400.
That's therapist, Sean. Therapist. I'm sorry, laddie. I'm so hard on y'all.
But no, we just wanted to take a moment just to pay our respects. I mean, one of the great iconic actors, according to IMDb, League was his last movie. What year was it, Tammy? Or TMZ? Sorry, I know it's TMZ. I always see TME. I always miss the Z. I want to say, was it 2002? 2002?
Oh, it was like 2004 or 5, wasn't it?
2000. Oh shit. Okay.
Oh,
so,
we was both wrong, but I was
shit.
closer.
Okay, so he's been out of it since for about 13
Price is Right, I won.
Thank you for Jimmy the Collector. Thank you so much for that follow. Really appreciate you. But yeah, no, I mean, just when you lose somebody, I mean, 2020 has already fucking wiped out everybody. You know, why not take Sean Connery at this point? You know,
Betty White.
Oh shit.
Strong girl.
Yeah. Hang in there.
Somebody showed a meme the other day of like a Mortal Kombat tower of like all these celebrities and Betty White going up the chain.
Betty White, stay
I was
away.
dying. It was so fucking funny.
Jimmy the Collector says the best James Bond. I'm gonna let. I know you agree, right? Is your favorite Bond?
Oh, yes, he is.
Jimmy just followed. He's going to unfollow.
I would definitely say he is my favorite Bond because of the iconicness of it.
Yes.
And yeah. Go ahead.
No, I will say I recognize that he is the most popular Bond.
Right.
You know, and rightfully so. I mean, he gave the character that flair. He created a cool ass character that other before Roger Moore. I mean, Roger Moore is not even part of the conversation. Roger Moore was just. I didn't like Roger Moore at all. He got way too campy. For my money, I still think Daniel Craig is my favorite at this point. I really liked what Daniel Craig has done with the character, but in my opinion, Timothy Dalton is widely underrated as in my opinion, is one of the best Bonds ever. I love Timothy Dalton. He's a talented actor. He didn't get the fair shake that he deserved. The franchise itself was kind of like in limbo when he took over. He did License to Kill, and then he did Living Daylights. One of the writers of the Bond movies said he is the closest depiction to what they envisioned Bond to be. That's how good Dalton was with it. But unfortunately, Dalton's Bond movies were darker than many of the previous ones. They were more violent, more gritty, and it didn't quite resonate well with fans. But I thought as his performance as Bond, I always thought Timothy Dalton was really, really good. And then when he was supposed to appear in the third film, the studio was starting to rethink things. How do we handle Bond? They delayed the next movie that he was supposed to be in, and by that point, they had already reached out to Pierce Brosnan, or Timothy Dalton started working on stuff, and so they went to Pierce Brosnan and brought him in. So the Timothy Dalton era, was only 2 Bond movies, but I feel like he was a really, really good Bond because Timothy Dalton's an amazing actor.
I like Timothy.
He's classically trained. He's a great actor, but didn't get the recognition he deserved. But no, in terms of like the impact of the character, I mean, Sean Connery started it all, and I'll give credit. I mean, I love him as Bond. He's a great Bond. He really is. He started it all. But now as an adult, my favorite movies have changed. Yeah, I know you like Super Troopers too. Okay, Josh. I'll let Josh relax for a second, slow down a little bit before he puts himself out there. He thought Super Troopers 2 was a great movie.
Jay McKenzie, a.k.a. Schmerid, a.k.a. Zatter, a.k.a. game developer guy. He's a huge Bond fan too, so someday you guys have to hash that out.
Oh man,
I'd like to hear you guys go back and watch some Bond personally. He's a huge Bond fan.
Psycho. Oh, Craig plays a great Bond. I love Craig as Bond. I love Daniel Craig as Bond. I'm really sad to see that he's gonna be going, but I have all the Sean Connery movies. Damn, all right. I dig it. I love more campy or not. He played the Bond character very well. Yeah, in a campy space, he was very, very good at playing a campy Bond. No doubt about it. He was really, really good. But in terms of like what I like from my Bonds, I like them to be dark. I like them to be edgy. And I feel like that's where Timothy Dalton started it. But Craig has really ran with it more. He's made it more grounded, but he's still very mysterious. But overall, like, he's just a fucking sweet Bond.
He's got that. He's got a lot of Sean Connery vibes, but like that Timothy Dalton darkness. If that's what you said, because I don't listen to you half the time. But there's just something like, because that's just it. Like I love Sean Connery because of the iconicness. But my second favorite Bond used to be actually before Daniel Craig. It's gonna be very controversial as well too. Pierce Brosnan. But now it's Daniel Craig.
Right? No. I mean, and Daniel Craig, he was chosen, you know, they went with that Bond because of what Matt Damon was able to do with Jason Bourne. You know, for a while, the Bourne series was like upper echelon, had taken over as kind of like the spy genre, as like the de facto spy genre. Like, this is what you want to be.
Yeah.
Action-oriented.
Yeah.
It was a, you know, very smart series of movies.
Right.
And so they did something like, hey, let's go with Daniel Craig. And you can see the similarities in Casino Royale and, you know, the Bourne movies are like, oh, okay, I can see there's some similarities between these characters. That's what they're going with here. So kudos to the Bourne movies for helping create the Daniel Craig Bond.
And honestly, you said it wrong. It's actually Matt Damon. Matt Damon.
Really, I enjoyed all the Bonds except for Lazenby. He just didn't cut. Wasn't he in one movie?
Yeah, it was one.
I think it was one. George. Yeah, I think he did. And then I think they remade it. I think it was a different one. I like Pierce Brosnan. Don't ban me. No. I mean, look, I loved GoldenEye. I really liked GoldenEye. I thought that was a sweet fucking Bond movie. Him, Sean Bean. I was like, okay, I can get on board. This is pretty sweet. But after that, they just really tailed off. And it was just like, these are kind of lame. I wasn't really wasn't really
Aston
a big fan
Martin
of that.
V12 Vanquish. Love it.
I love all the Bond movies. Such a lifelong thing. Watching them since I was super young. I mean, that's you know, it started with Sean Connery. And again, I don't know if Sean Connery doesn't make that character so iconic. I don't know if Bond is even around now. So give credit where credit is due. He was an amazing Bond. He was really, really good. He created that fucking franchise. He's the only reason that franchise went anywhere.
True.
Because Sean Connery was so good at it. So I give respects. I think maybe I like the darker, grittier Bonds.
That's fair.
This is my thing. I like the more mysterious, more badass guys, and you know we saw that with Dalton, and even more so with Craig. So mad respects. I mean, a lot of iconic characters. We lost a great one. Sean is so fucking sexy. He is. I don't even care. I'll say I have a man crush on him. That'd be my man crush, Sean Connery.
I mean,
will you say the book thing again? One more time.
What?
The book thing, the burning book thing. Come on.
Oh,
give it to me one more time.
What it tells me is that goose-snapping morons like yourself should try reading books instead of burning them.
Man, it's you know, yeah, they could cut glass right now. It was pretty accurate.
Oh my God, where are the Band-Aids?
Pretty accurate. All right, moving on to the final topic. This is the one where we want to get everyone involved because
Brian,
you know, Cuddles found this photo, right? I mean, the
Cuddles
original one.
Always finding
Cuddles
stuff
always
like
finds the best stuff to like, and when he shows you, you're just like, oh fuck, that's really tough.
got around with that.
So we get the photo from him, and we're like, oh well, let's alter it a little bit, because there was a couple movies that were like, you know, let's see what else we got. So here we go. You guys ready? This is gonna be the good discussion. Let's roll. What we're going to talk about today is obviously the summer of 1984. Well, the year 1984 in general was a massive year for the box office. There were a ton of huge movies. The box office that year was through the roof. Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm pointing.
Wait, we're talking about the summer movies of 1984. The summer movies between the months of, I think it was like May to August.
Right, that sounds about right.
You know, so we picked out the movies that were on the list, and then we altered some of the other ones for some new ones. And I feel like this is pretty tough. There's a lot of good movies here, and we're going to go down the list here. So we're going to pick 3 movies. The rest of them got to go. We're going
Forever?
Forever. So we'll start. We've got Gremlins, Red Dawn, Ghostbusters, Beverly Hills Cop, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Obviously, Indiana top 3, right? Revenge of the Nerds, The Never-Ending Story, The Last Starfighter, and The Karate Kid.
Oh, the Karate Kid.
I haven't seen 3 of them. Right, so Josh can talk about it. He's seen some of these movies. But now let's talk. If you had to pick 3 movies,
Just 3,
out of this list,
and the rest get burnt.
and the rest are lost forever.
Torched.
Let's talk about it. First, let's talk with our third pick because we're gonna come together at the top. I believe. I'm pretty sure that's where we're gonna come.
Like
together.
an Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Eiffel Tower, right? Starting with you, your first pick. What are you landing on?
What, my third or first?
Third, because the first
Third.
we're starting at the bottom.
We're converging.
Yes, we're converging towards.
Okay, my third pick, after many deliberation and many days,
Oh boy,
and many things and thoughts, is Gremlins.
Oh,
That's my bottom pick.
Okay.
There's 2 that cut above the rest.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hard time between Gremlins and another movie specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And very honestly, Gremlins is fucking amazing. It's actually there's sometimes some quotes that I still quote from it. I saw Gremlins 2 in the theater, and if you saw Gremlins 2 in the theater, I don't know if it was in the VHS release, but when you're watching it in the theater, Hulk Hogan halfway through the movie gets up and yells at them, "Hey, what are you guys doing up there?" Because they pretend that the Gremlins are up in the whatever the
projection
fuck it is. Thank you, that thing. And fuck up the whole thing. And he stands up and goes, "What do you guys do? Fix that, blah, blah, blah." And it was like, as a wrestling fan, as a kid, I was like, holy shit.
Dude,
like, I went with a buddy.
2 was an amazing. It was a departure from the first one because it was more
flamboyant,
more satire. Like it was.
Yeah.
They hit on a lot of themes, like a lot of
Pop
fourth wall breaking shit.
Oh,
like
yeah, but it was brilliant.
It was great.
It
Gremlins
was
2
really
was
good.
Highly underrated.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir. So that is my third pick.
I'm going to agree with you. That's actually going to be my third pick. I'm going to go with you on that as well. Gremlins
Copycat.
is, I know, it's a copycat thing. But yeah, Gremlins was, it's a Christmas movie. And even back then when I was a kid, it was such a good movie. It was entertaining, but it was scary as fuck. Because like Stripe, I mean, there were some humorous moments. Like at the bar was hilarious when they're at the bar and everyone's dancing on tables. And they're playing poker or something and somebody's cheating. He shoots someone. I mean, it was hilarious, but there were some legitimate, like, holy shit.
Yeah, there's definitely.
But, specifically in the science room when the teacher gets killed, that one's running around the hallways and shit fucking was that. I was just like, okay, there were some legitimate scares in that movie. The teacher getting jacked up. Yeah, he got that syringe in the ass. He got drugged.
Howie Mandel did the voice of Gizmo?
Yes, he did. Howie Mandel. Yep, did the voice for Gizmo.
Oh my god, that makes so much sense.
Oh, Howie Mandel. Yeah, Howie Mandel is like a talented voice actor. He was really
Little
good.
Monster, dude.
Little Monsters with Fred Savage.
I could talk about Little Monsters probably for a half hour. I'll stretch it out.
Oh,
huge
quickie.
Fan. That'd be a good one for a quickie.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's awesome. And again, it's a Joe Dante film. I mean, Joe Dante, The Burbs.
Such a good movie.
Toy Soldiers. I mean,
that's right.
Joe Dante has an incredible list of movies. Joe Dante is fucking awesome for a director. He had some great 80s movies. So, to see him involved with Gremlins, it doesn't surprise me that it's good. There's some good humor in it, but it's got some scares. It can be a little intense. Yeah. There's some scenes that are pretty wild, but overall, it's so good. I'm a huge fan of Gremlins. It's one of those movies, again, where if it's on TV, I'm going to watch the fucking movie.
Yep.
So we agree. We're both going with Gremlins for our third pick.
Yep.
Number 2.
My number 2 is the one and only Karate Kid.
You're the best around.
Yes, absolutely. Karate Kid all day. Danielson. Yes. I love that movie. As you guys know from B&B Quickies and from just generally talking about Cobra Kai, I'm very passionate about that series. It was very integral in my childhood growing up. It was one of those things in one of those movies and franchises that me and my father bonded over, which was typically martial arts anyways, but Karate Kid was huge. I love everything that's going on in the real world now with Cobra Kai going forward, waiting for season 3. That movie was pretty easy for me to get to number 2 after I knew instantly what number 1 was for sure.
No I hate this stupid bike. I want to go home. I want to go. I mean, he beat the shit out of that bike, dude.
Absolutely.
And yeah, Mom had to come out and no, Karate Kid's a great movie. It was always awesome as a kid. The second one was decent. Then the whole franchise just kind of went to shit. But like you said, Cobra Kai has kind of revived that.
Yeah, I still like 3.
Did you really like 3?
We've talked about. I do like 3. I actually still like 2 very well. I enjoyed 3. It was after 3 was when the franchise went to crap because 3 wasn't as good. Don't
it
get me
was
wrong.
campy as fuck.
Maybe,
and
but
you know what? Had Kreese been around for the whole movie,
right?
Because I remember he was
his flunky.
Well, he was obligated to do another show.
Right.
So he was basically flying in on the weekends to do like a kind of a cameo thing. But they bring in this Thomas Ian Griffin, and he was such a shitty villain. I'm like, this guy, first of all, he sucked as an actor. He wasn't menacing at all. Yeah, he was super campy, and I was like, man, why the fuck couldn't they get Kreese in this? But he was caught up in contract obligations.
Just
to
wait till
show.
the ponytail guy. What is his name?
Thomas Ian Griffin.
Just wait till it comes full circle with Cobra Kai. I'm predicting
no
it right now.
Fucking way.
I think he's Miguel's dad.
I hope he's
Miguel's dad.
out of movies ever since.
Miguel's dad. I'm telling you.
Yes, 3 has such an overtop villain. Yeah, he's a lame ass villain. Panic.
Junkie, there you go. That's a good list, Junkie too. Everybody's got some great stuff. Everybody's sharing all their lists out there.
We weren't sure if Revenge of the Nerds would get some love.
Junkie.
Now, I know Panic said it was very rapey, but look, everyone is going to have a different opinion of comedy and stuff like that. We grew up through the 80s, so we're more into the raunchy stuff.
We're desensitized to a lot.
We're desensitized, and I'm not.
Yeah.
And this is not making light of things like that. But I just look, guys when I look at comedians, I think of like George Carlin and Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor. Those guys would never be able to do today what they did back then. And I love that comedy. I love that raunchy, hard-hitting comedy because, first of all, it's not back then it wasn't, I don't want to say it was insensitive. It was an interesting look. It was an interesting take. George Carlin specifically was one of the smartest comedians I've ever listened to. And, going back then and listening to the stuff they would say, there's no way they'd be able to get away with it now. Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, those types of comedy hours. I mean, Eddie Murphy can still do movies that are hilarious, but the type of comedy they did, stand-up comedy, was fucking savage. But, man, there was so much truth behind it. But at the time, they didn't fucking care if they were offending anybody.
Right.
Because everyone understood back then, it's comedy. It's meant to make you laugh. If you can't laugh at this, what can you laugh at? But at the same time, I understand that things are different now. And you got to be careful with what you do. And I get that. But, you look at Revenge of the Nerds, yes, some of the themes that it touches on are probably a little iffy now. Man, Booger and all those guys. Revenge of the Nerds is pretty fucking
Oh, yeah. Jay Hill, we're picking our top 3 of this. We're starting from our least going to our top on this one. Panic, you got to see Carlin live. That's epic, bro.
Wait, I'm drunk. Is this your list of favorite of these movies? We're basically having people pick 3 movies from this list of summer movies from 1984. You have to pick 3 and the rest get tossed out. So you went with Karate Kid.
Karate Kid.
My second choice is Beverly Hills Cop. Beverly Hills Cop is the quintessential 80s movie.
It's a great movie.
You have Eddie Murphy at his prime. You got an iconic theme song, but the whole soundtrack was rocking.
Yeah, it was good.
You got Judge Reinhold, another icon of the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just Eddie Murphy and do whatever you want, bro. You're funny as hell. And Eddie Murphy is hilarious in this movie, but it's got some good action. It's got a lot of comedy. It was kind of like the start up of the action cop buddy movie. Like, it was just really fun. It was entertaining. It's the quintessential 80s movie. I mean, it was his breakout role. I mean, I would argue that he was even better in 48 Hours.
Oh.
48 Hours. No. 48 Hours with Nick Nolte is an incredibly underrated comedy. That is a movie. That's a movie that does not get made today. It does not get made today. But I tell you what, him and Nick Nolte, their chemistry in that movie
great chemistry.
Was fucking awesome. 48 Hours was good. Another 48 Hours probably shouldn't have been made.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been made. But no, I'm going Beverly Hills Cop because it's absolutely hilarious. Even today, it's funny to watch. Eddie Murphy is just improvising left and right, and he chews it up. He does great. This was the role that really kind of set him in place outside of like Saturday Night Live. This was like his big break.
Yep.
This was his big thing. And had he not done this movie, he would have probably been in the movie we're going to talk about now. He was approached by it, but he was tied to Beverly Hills Cop.
I did not know that.
But the number one movie.
The number uno.
That we both believe. I mean, and it's not. It's honestly, it's not even close.
It was the first thing I picked.
It's the one, and it's right here. Ghostbusters.
All day.
It's not even close. Absolutely not even close. Ghostbusters was to this day. You just watched it recently. I watch all the time because my kids love Ghost. I watch that 3 days a week.
Yeah,
the kids are like Ghostbusters. I'm like, man, I'm doing right. I'm doing right as a father because my kids.
I would say so.
Like, yeah, I mean, hell,
you're watching a 3-year-old movie. Yeah,
my kids want to watch Ghostbusters, Roadhouse, or Predator.
Oh, you're a great parent.
I'm the fucking dad of the fucking year.
Yeah, you number one.
So, but Ghostbusters, man, it's one of those movies where, again, it could be dated by its special effects, sure. But you and I are big fans of practical effects, and there's a lot of the stuff in there is, yes, a lot of it is, I don't even want to say it's CGI. I don't know what
there's
it was
some. There's some like stop motion claymation with the dogs and
with
stuff.
The dogs, but there's a lot of like practical effects. But man, the thing about Ghostbusters that still holds up well today is just the dialogue, the camaraderie between the characters.
Chemistry.
You know, obviously Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, they knew each other really well. They fed off each other well. And it's just, you know, they're so good. And then Winston comes in, and Winston, I understand why he feels like he loves this. He loves the movie, but I agree. I wish that he had more part in it. The thing I don't like about Ghostbusters is the fact that he's not on the poster. That's the one thing that he doesn't like, and I don't like it either because Winston Zeddemore is a huge part. He's not on the poster.
Yeah, well, because I didn't realize it until you pointed it out. The thing that makes his character so important is he comes in as an average blue collar everyday Joe.
Valid. That's
also coming from a religious background. So when they're in the car talking with Dan, when he's talking
about the end of days or whatever, yeah,
right. And Dan Aykroyd's character is kind of like, yeah, okay, I guess. Like he gives more of a perspective, at least for the time, of like kind of everybody's like where they've come from, because like you can enjoy the movie and have a lot of laughs because you're enjoying like everything, but there's certain things they do and say that almost separates the audience. But Winston is the one that gaps that that closes that gap. And it's a very interesting take because all these guys are really smart, intellectual guy, but then this dude's just, I just need a fucking job and paycheck. He could be shoveling shit. He didn't care.
That's valid.
He jumps in head first and likes it. But you're still going to get this perspective of a character that is contrary to everybody else, which actually brings a very, very good
it kind of grounds it a little bit, it humanizes them a little, and not just all fun and games. But I know Ernie Hudson's awesome in that movie, and it's just
awesome.
It's one of those movies, you guys, where you watch it now. I mean, this movie is almost 40 years old. In 4 years,
it's still entertaining. As
it's fucking hilarious. The dialogue, the writing, and everything about this movie is still entertaining as fuck. And it helps that there's so much rapport between the main cast. Sigourney Weaver's awesome in this movie. Rick Moranis is awesome. Annie Potts is awesome.
Every single person.
Everybody, even William Atherton.
Dickless.
William Atherton. You know, he's the what is he, the Environmental Protection Agency guy.
EPA.
And he's also the news reporter in Die Hard that Holly punches at the end.
And he was also the asshole in fucking Biodome.
He was
Faulkner.
He was also in
Faulkner.
Oh shit. What's the movie with Val Kilmer where he's like a genius? Real Geniuses.
Yep.
He's like the professor or whatever. But you know, just an amazing cast, and everyone is given just enough to flesh out their characters and make them. I mean, seriously, Lewis. I mean, come on. Rick Moranis' character. I mean,
constantly locking himself out of his apartment. Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's so many great scenes in Ghostbusters, and you watch it, and it's just it's belly laugh after belly laugh after belly laugh, and it never ever. Like I said, I have watched that movie. I don't even know how many fucking times in the last 4 years, and it never gets old. I will sit down and be like, "Oh man, this part's awesome."
My two favorite interactions in pseudo quotes is when they're going up to get out Slimer in the hotel. The guy's like, he says, "Wait, exterminators," or whatever he says. He's like, "Yeah, cockroach or something like that." Must
be bite your head off.
Yeah, man. Bite your head off, man. Love that part. And then the second part is when they meet up with Gozer, and they're they're talking like what they're gonna do, or whatever. And Bill Murray just out of nowhere, I swear it's an ad lib, and it's probably not. He's like, "Go get her, Ray." And you could say like Bill Murray almost like breaks character for a minute because he's got the smirk, like almost. That's why I feel it's like an ad lib or something like that. And Dan Aykroyd he's just faceless about it, and he just says, "Go get her, Ray." And I'm just like, God, that's so fucking Bill Murray.
And
That
goes
was
just
so,
like, "Are you a god?"
Are
And
you a
he looks
god?
back at Bill Murray. He's like, "It's like no."
No, yeah.
Oh man, I mean, Ghostbusters. It's like I said, it helps that everyone is just having fun making the movie, and that's when you can tell, like with these comedies, if everyone is in sync and everyone knows how to
Mhm.
feed off each other. I mean, Ray is this guy, and Bill, Egon is the super nerd. Venkman is like the whatever fucking guy.
I collect spores.
Yeah, spores, folds, and funguses. Yeah. It's just, Ghostbusters will always be the defining movie of 1984 in my mind. I mean, there's a lot of great movies here, as you can see. There was a lot of great movies in '84. Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one came out. We had Friday the 13th, the final chapter was in there.
All these movies came out
in there. Yeah,
but Purple Rain.
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain. And that's just it. Like, these were the summer movies we had to kind of zero in on that. But like, man, oh man, like honestly, I had a hard time with the big one. I know everybody's pretty much always usually about Never Ending Story. I gotta hear all this shit. But actually, the one that I was fighting the most with Gremlins on my top, if I was doing a top 3, I did it 1, 2, 3, Ghostbusters 1, Karate Kid 2, Gremlins.
So
I was actually fighting really hard with Last Starfighter. It's a very obscure film to a degree.
It is, yep.
But as a sci-fi fanatic, Last Starfighter for me, when you were going to an arcade or even playing an Atari as a kid,
yep.
That's all you like. That was calling to me. Like the first time I saw Tron, blew my fucking head. Last Starfighter was like that for me too. And I love fantasy medieval stuff. So don't get me wrong. You would think that normally, Never Ending Story would be my call to.
Mm-hmm.
Last Starfighter, bro.
Like I said, and I was telling you about this before the show. Like Andrew Rick, listen, you smell something?
Tell him about the Twinkie.
But like, the Last Starfighter is like a lot of these movies from the 80s, some of these other obscure movies that I will remember them fondly as a child, but watching them now, you're just kind of like, it doesn't do anything for me.
And that's a hard one.
Yeah, and I liken it to like Howard the Duck. Again, if you sit down right now and watch Howard the Duck, after watching everything else they've done in the MCU, and you go watch Howard the Duck, the movie fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It's trash. It's hard to watch. It's bad acting. Leia Thompson is just wasted.
She's getting a paycheck.
Tim Robbins is wasted. Jeffrey Jones is, even though he was he's the principal in Ferris Bueller. Just a whole cast wasted. A whole cast of 80s icons wasted, and it's just a really bad, a really hard movie to watch. You can look at Stephen King's It, the one with Tim Curry. Awesome movie when I was younger, scary as hell. Watch it now. I'm good. I'd
more campy.
I'd rather remember these movies as watching them as a child, remembering, and they were so good. We were talking about The Explorers with River Phoenix and Ethan Hawke. I mean, awesome movie when I was a kid. Watch it now, and like the last 20 minutes, you're just like, this movie, this is really bad.
Hard.
Yeah. Or what's the one you like, Mac and Me? I know you like Mac and Me. That was one. I did
love Mac and Me as a kid.
Fucking would, man.
I did.
You're a disaster.
Did. Short Circuit sure doesn't hold. Oh God, yeah, no kidding.
Short Circuit with Steve Gutenberg and Ali Sheedy.
Yeah. Johnny Five alive.
I tell you what, Short Circuit
too.
There's a real hard one to watch. Is Short Circuit too, where you don't even, dude. If you can't get Steve Gutenberg to sign on for a sequel after 5 fucking police academies, your movie sucks. And you know what? Short Circuit 2 sucked. Michael McKean is not Steve Gutenberg.
He's really not.
Like Steve, as much as I like Michael McKean in certain roles, he ain't Steve Gutenberg, man.
He ain't.
So, but yeah, I felt like that was a good conversation. A lot of people had we had a lot of lists in there. A lot of lists.
Yeah, great stuff,
What was it, Panic Games? I like Revenge of the Nerds 2 better. Nerds in Paradise, not a bad flick.
That's the one with the warthog in it, that the fucking...
Yeah, where they ride off the beach. Yeah. I mean, it's, like I said, man.
A long time.
Revenge of the Nerds 2 was a decent flick.
84, there it is, summer movies.
Summer movies of 1984. And there was a lot of good ones, man. A lot of great movies. So, but that's going to do it for this week's show. We appreciate you guys and girls adjusting to the schedule. Again, we'll be going back to bi-weekly. We made this adjustment just so we could fit in a couple more shows and move around the holidays and the retail world that Tone has to deal with. And work as well for myself. So we kind of move things around so we can really kind of land these shows in here and have a couple more shows before the end of the year. But Next week,
B&B plays hopefully on Wednesday.
we're targeting Wednesday for Among Us. So if you have Among Us on PC or on your phone, you can play with us, and we'd love to have you there. It's a great game. It's a lot of fun. We had a blast.
We had a fucking blast.
The last time we played Among Us, so we'll be doing that Wednesday night. In terms of next-gen coverage, I'll be live on Tuesday night with some Xbox Series X impressions. We'll check out some of the games there. And then Thursday night, PlayStation 5 will come out. We'll check out either probably Demon's Souls, because I'm a fucking loser. I'm going to buy a game I don't want to buy.
Don't do it. Just do Miles.
Or Spider-Man, Miles Morales. We'll take a look at that. Could be, it could be Sack. I don't know. There's some really good games coming out next week. Call of Duty comes out next Friday.
True.
So we'll have a lot of stuff to look at come next week. But one more time before we close the show.
One more time.
If you haven't entered already, click that link. Get entered to win a PlayStation 5 disc version and a PSN code for $50, courtesy of one of our friends, Banter Babble. We have a viewer that remains to be anonymous, and they wanted to offer up something extra with the PlayStation 5, so that'll be a part of it as well. The drawing will happen Wednesday, December 2nd at 9:30. Live right here on Banter Babble, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll announce the winner, and we will ship it out the next day. We want to get everybody involved. If you have friends or family that are looking for a PlayStation 5 that you think would be into this show, send them our way, whether it's during the stream, get in the Discord. We want to keep this as in-house as possible. Don't share it on social media. Don't put it on Facebook. Don't put it on fucking Twitter. Let's keep it right here. We appreciate you guys and girls' support. All we ask is for you to share those links when we post them. Share them on Facebook. Let everyone know, hey, check out this show. There are a couple of dorks that like to get drunk and talk about movies, video games, TV shows, and wrestling.
Sounds awesome to me.
So we really appreciate your support, you guys and gals. We will be back Wednesday next week with B&B Plays with Among Us. And then the following week, the week before Thanksgiving, for another proper episode of Banter and Babble. Mr. Fanboytone, I am TheDude79. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.
Breaks it.
We'll talk to you soon.
Break.
Night, everybody.
Bye.